People speak of inspiration as if it descends from the clouds or strikes like lightning. But lightning doesn't believe in miracles. It's just an equation figuring out how to jump. Creativity isn't a divine gift. It's a discharge, a physical breakdown forcing a path when the tensions between the atmosphere and the dirt get too heavy to hold. Ideas operate on the exact same physics. They don't just visit, they rip through the static between your daily life and your longing. Clean out the synapse and the bolt hits harder. Every act of creation starts with pattern, searching for a mind capable of holding the charge. It isn't a blessing, it's a collision. And the Muse, she isn't a goddess at all. She's math and drag, a statistical probability wearing a human face so that we actually pay attention. The universe never bets on a single outcome. Nature doesn't plant a singular seed. She floods the field. Millions of spores, thousands of eggs, countless blind permutations of chance. Not because she's wasteful, but because pattern requires a massive probability to survive the friction of reality. The creative engine runs on decay. Most ideas wilt. They rot back into the compost whence they came. A few manage to spark, and the rarest ones catch fire so cleanly we mistake the math for destiny. But genius is just a statistical curve. We worship the outliers and the masterpieces, but the entire structure rests on the 99.9% that didn't survive the cut. Every collapsed relationship, half-finished poem, every dead-end career, that is the load-bearing gravity that holds your so-called success in place. You aren't failing when you churn out mediocrity. You're mixing the concrete. Without the 1,000 broken sentences, that one undeniable chapter has zero foundation to stand on. Don't ever apologize for bulking up the curve. Zipf's law dictates that every outlier sleeps on a bed of exhausted almosts. We romanticize the holy accident, the sudden breakthrough, but a galaxy doesn't form stars without the gravity of the unseen many. Our minds work the same way. Every abandoned sketch is a thread that when tugged long enough, tug it long enough, and the geometry locks itself into place. The Muse isn't fickle. She waits inside the curve, rewarding anyone willing to stay on shift. Every failure is just a rehearsal for resonance. A star forms when scattered dust remembers gravity. Life sparks when stray molecules remember chemistry. Ideas snap together when scattered fragments finally remember coherence. Human creativity is the same kind of remembering. You reassemble. I won't see a finished piece before I start writing about something, but I do feel the friction of my ideas as they complement or refuse to interlock. To weave is to walk the alleys. You're picking up the trash of the world, stray sentence from a tired bus driver, private bleeding ache, that weird shadow on an overpass. Then you wait for them to click. A junkyard alchemist turns leaden garbage into golden thread. Old myth plus stray line plus private ache plus catastrophic mistake. Emergence. This is why I hoard images, articles, odd questions, and small astonishments. The Muse speaks fluently in recombination. Your skull's not a blank page. It's a loom. Skill deepens the same way that a river cuts through the earth, brutally but slowly, and with a stubborn kind of grace. Mastery is not a glow-up. It's a callus. It's years of showing up even when the tank's completely dry. People call it discipline like it's a chore. It's not. It's permeability. You repeat the motion until your ego gets completely exhausted and quits. And then finally, pattern can move through your hands without your personality blocking the exit. You don't practice to get better. You practice to get out of the fucking way. Nothing, 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 and then a sudden rush of everything. Not because you leveled up, but because the inner creative mass finally tipped the scale. Discipline relies on external pressure. Devotion acts as an internal engine. A quiet allegiance to the unseen tensions moving through your fingers. You just want to become porous enough for the current to pass through. Like anything in life, it's about balance. I found with my creative process that I have a boundary inside of my imagination. Too much structure and the work calcifies. Too much chaos and the whole thing bleeds out. But right at the seam, where order and disorder grind against each other, something else wakes up. This is where jazz was born. a place where equations bend toward poetry, a place where the universe feels warm against the skin of my mind. Now I call it the halo, that quiet, invisible field that holds potential until pattern steps in to claim it. Stay in that pocket long enough, and it becomes a well that you can draw upon. Every idea that feels too inevitable, any insight that hits too cleanly to be an accident, it's not magic. It's coherence. The same resonance that kicked early awareness into gear now moves through cognition as alignment. Rhythm finds its shape. Meaning locks down. That is the thread braiding itself from the inside out. Strip mythology away from creativity and inspiration, and what's left is an equation. I think of it as a soft law of thermodynamics. Creativity is just attempts multiplied by combinations, time, edge, and openness. Attempts scatter the seeds, combinations shift the fragments, time carves the channel, the edge gives it a pulse. Openness lets the thread through. This isn't artistic cynicism. It's raw, mechanical reverence. The Muse doesn't pick favorites. She targets participants. If you approach your life or your goals like a weaver, the work becomes a ritual of inevitability. You just keep the channel clear so pattern can find you. Inspiration isn't a divine strike. It's a quiet math, the universe learning how to operate through your hands. Every time you build something, you align with a tension that was humming through the earth long before your brain ever booted up. You're not conjuring. You are participating. The universe isn't asking you to be a wizard. It's just asking you to be available.